Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service.
Why did I say musical?
I don't know where Rick is, if he's over there yet.
Why did I say musical? A musical student. Okay. Robespierre overthrown in France. Okay.
Ah, yes.
They jump all the way from 1794 to 1949. Absolutely nothing. Oh,
Are you guys ready? You can go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you for tuning into the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Pat, and I'm here with Matt. We invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel. Monday to Friday, between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. This site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. Matt.
For the Spiegel Daily Citizen, following Druff's Diner sign controversy, police union asked public to stop leaving bad reviews for the business.
Did you want me to do the other one first?
No, it's fine. This probably will be first. Steamboat has two new signs taped to its door following this week's brouhaha over the Springfield Police Officers Association's viral post. That was the photo here. 2 days after the Springfield Police Officers Association, SPOA, I think, made a social media post questioning a sign taped near the door of Druff's Diner in downtown Springfield. The association made another post on Friday, July 24th, asking the public to not boycott Druff's Diner and to stop calling the restaurant or leaving fake bad reviews. The sign, which the owner said had been taped near the door for about 6 months, read, "All law enforcement officials do not enter without a lawful judicial search warrant." By the evening of July 23rd, the sign had been removed and replaced with 2 new signs. "Everyone is welcome to eat here," one sign read. "All are welcome," the other sign read. "If you're hungry, come in. If you're here to conduct a search or seizure, come back with a lawful judicial warrant." So just a rewording of what they just said, just slightly worded differently. "Leave Druff's alone" is the next part of the article. In a July 24th Facebook post, SPOA said it had a positive conversation with Druff's management after its earlier post and would not be commenting further. The union, which represents the officers, officers in Springfield, the Springfield Police Department, said it was not encouraging the downfall of the business and encouraged people to keep eating there if they enjoyed it. We reached out to Druff's and had a great conversation. The July 24th post from SPOA reads in part, "Though we disagree on many things, we know where each other stands. Thanks to the attention this matter received, the community as a whole now knows where everyone stands and can make its own decisions accordingly. Druff's clarified its position and stands by it, which is respectable. Our position is this, despite whatever law enforcement related injustice may be going on in our country, whether real or perceived, our members simply ask to be judged based on their own actions and performance. We strive to be the best of the best, and we are the post, and we are the post states. The idea that a business needs to fear misconduct or constitutional malfeasance from our members, or that a business would want to attract clientele who share that fear, is concerning and unwarranted. The post concluded with, lastly, leave Druffs alone, stop calling them and leaving fake reviews. Continue to send us your threats and vulgar messages if that makes you feel better. We're used to it. Running a small business is hard enough. Making it harder was never our intention, and we're not going to condone it. Druff's owner, Ken McCammon, I think, told the Daily Citizen he believes the original sign was misunderstood, and it wasn't about refusing service to police officers, but making sure that Druff's customers would know that they are safe and that the restaurant would not allow law enforcement agencies to conduct searches without a warrant. McKinnon said the SPOA July 24th post had an almost instant negative impact on the business, including several one-star reviews left on Google. Some comments encouraged people to dine and dash at Druff's or to try to hurt the business, McKinnon said. Other comments have levied threats against the business. Soon after SPOA's July 24th post went viral, McKinnon also took to social media to explain and clarify his intention and of the sign. We don't care about where you're from or what you do for work. If you are welcoming, regardless of who you love, we are going to seat you even if you said you hope we get robbed, he wrote in part. I know the sign in the window made a lot of folks upset. That was never my intention. My goal was and always will be to provide a safe place to serve great food with a smile on my face. Hope this helps anyone who may be confused about my morals or policies. That's the end of that one. On to Pat. I think it has a similar article about kind of the same.
Yeah, we have a follow-up here. This was from Friday then, the 26th. Druff's adds new signage to clarify position on police. And this was submitted by Jeff Pickle, digital editor, on July 24th in Springfield Business Journal. New signage has been installed at downtown restaurant Druff's after initial messaging drew the ire of a local police officer association earlier this week. Signage at the diner at 331 Park East Central East now reads that everyone is welcome to eat here. It clarifies that if you're here to conduct a search or seizure, come back with a lawful judicial warrant. The initial signage asked all law enforcement officials to not enter without a lawful judicial search warrant. Previously posted near the door, the sign remained this morning on the window. Just wanted to let you know that you're all allowed to eat at Druff's, the company posted on Facebook yesterday. We don't care about where you're from or what you do for work. The post adds, I know the sign in the window made a lot of people upset. That was never my intention. My goal was and always will be to provide a safe place to serve great food with a smile on my face. Druff's owner, Kenny McMahon, said in an interview that the original signage had been up for 6 or 7 months. He said he put the sign up during the swath of U.S. immigration and custom enforcement raids, and it was not his intention to single out local folks. I never refuse service to anyone unless they come in here and they've been overserved alcohol and they harass my staff, he said. The Springfield Police Officers Association criticized the signage in a July 22 Facebook post. Instead of overreacting, we'll go ahead and give you the chance to publicly explain whether this was a rogue employee or a poorly communicated new policy of yours that doesn't actually mean what it appears to mean on the face of it. The post reads, or if your potential customers should be concerned that the ones they trust to protect downtown aren't welcome in your establishment to keep them safe while they're dining. If so, we'll be happy to help you spread the word. The SPOA president, Justin Hollingsworth, said the organization's Facebook post was meant to call as a call for clarification. He said the post specifically did not call on a boycott of Druff's. I don't want Druff's canceled. I don't want them to close. I don't want them to lose business, Hollingsworth said. Hollingsworth said local law enforcement should not be judged based on what's going on in other parts of the country. We want them to know that they don't have to be afraid of us, he said of local businesses. Okay.
Okay, from Springfield Daily Citizen, a new business opening up in Ozark. Where did I think go? Okay. It says new sweet shop, Scoops of Faith, is set to open in downtown Ozark. A new sweet shop opening in downtown Ozark will boast ice cream, acai bowls, dirty sodas, and other trendy treats imagined by local teens. Scoops of Faith, 103 West Church Street, is the project of Gerald Zamora, a commercial real estate agent. The store expects to open around the first week of August, so hopefully pretty quick here. The purpose of the business was basically to bring positively to the community and through God bring all the resources to God offer, Zamora said. A staff of about 15 young entrepreneurs aged 14 to 19 will be devoting menu items and developing items and leading day-to-day management and service, he explained. Zamora said he is also opening a rentable kitchen with a small storefront in Nixa, hopefully within the next 4 weeks, that will supply baked goods for the Ozark shop. Something new and sweet each week. Just a second here. Where'd it go? Okay. The goal of the business is to employ young people and some of similar faith, encouraging entrepreneurship among the youth. Oh, that's the photo. Sorry. Okay. A second. Okay, here we go. Scoops of Faith employee Avery Wells, an Ozark High School sophomore, said guests will always find something new at the shop. The staff plans to add different special dirty soda combinations to the menu each week, for instance. Something I'm most excited for definitely would be how students are going to be able to have like their own spotlight here at the front, Wells said. Students can showcase their own things. Some say that's like, no, yeah, okay. Macarons 1 week. Macarons a week or different breads 1 week. Wells said the staff will be able to pitch ideas and offer trending foods with no seating. The business will have a come and go atmosphere, but guests will be welcome to take pictures of their treats in front of a bright pink mural. Zamora said he plans for Scoops of Faith to be open 5 days a week. On certain days, organizations like churches, schools, and sports teams will be able to sponsor products to raise funds, he said. Allowing a young generation to take charge. More figures again. Hang on. Zamora said that working in commercial real estate, he has helped almost 50 restaurants get started. The model for Scoops of Faith is unique. Traditionally, a business practice doesn't allow for such a young generation to take over and, pioneer everything from the beginning. But part of our structure is based on faith, Zamora said. We foresee success. We foresee the ability to make mistakes and to build it this way. Wells said the faith-based environment will make the business special for people to be able to walk in here and automatically feel welcomed and automatically feel like they're with God. I think that's just going to be spiritually bring a real positive attitude overall, she said. Opening a rentable kitchen, Scoops of Faith will open baked goods in-house at Ozark Shop. Zamora said he is setting up a rental kitchen at 105 Water Street in downtown Nixa. 1,900 square foot property he has leased for the past 3 years. It was most recently occupied by, what the heck? I have no idea what that even is. Zamora said he is dubbing the kitchen Scoops of Faith Bakery and operating it like a separate business. Chefs will be able to have a partnership with Zamora to use the space, brand and create their own products and sell treats online and at the Ozark Shop. There won't be seating at the Nixa Bakery, but Zamora said it will have a storefront for guests to purchase baked goods and ice cream, plus a small coffee cart. The property also has an existing drive-through. The owner estimates he is investing about $90,000 into opening Scoops of Faith in Ozark, and $90,000 to into starting the bakery. Let's see what that article looks like. On to Pat again.
I tried looking up what Joe American is, but I can't.
I would look weird, and I didn't feel like trying to read that out. So.
Yeah, I'm so
Sorry,
sorry.
guys. Reading
Okay,
the braille
back-
just kind of confused.
Okay, Springfield News Leader this morning at 3:47, Janice Reeser submitted Springfield seeks partners for renewable gas projects. The city of Springfield is seeking private sector partners to develop renewable natural gas production facilities at its Noble Hill Sanitary Landfill and Southwest Wastewater Treatment Plant. The request for proposals was issued as a part of the city's effort to capture and use biogas already generated at both facilities, according to a community announcement. City officials said in the announcement that the proposed projects would clean and upgrade landfill gas and wastewater biogas into pipeline quality renewable natural gas, or RNG, for use as a renewable energy source rather than routinely burning excess gas through flares. Springfield Environmental Services has spent several years evaluating renewable natural gas opportunities. The city previously explored a design, build, delivery model and completed feasibility studies and conceptual planning in 2023 and 2024, but no contract was awarded and neither facility was built. After additional market analysis and evaluation, the city determined a developer-led approach would better support the project's long-term viability while reducing financial risk. According to the announcement, developers may submit proposals for the landfill project, the wastewater treatment plant project, or a combined proposal covering both locations. City shifts to private developer-led model. Under the RFP, the selected developer or developers would be responsible for financing, designing, constructing, operating, and maintaining renewable natural gas facilities at the city-owned sites. The developer also would market the renewable natural gas and manage environmental credits and incentives associated with the projects. Renewable natural gas allows us to put an existing resource to productive use while supporting cleaner energy production, Eric Roberts, Assistant Director of Environmental Services, said in the announcements. By capturing and upgrading biogas generated at city facilities, we can reduce emissions, expand the use of renewable energy, and create long-term benefits for the Springfield community. Landfill and wastewater plant targeted for RNG production. The Noble Hill Sanitary Landfill has operated since 1975 and is expected to continue generating gas for decades. City officials said in the announcement that recent investments have improved gas collection and management systems at the site. The Southwest Wastewater Treatment Plant also has received upgrades to its biogas handling systems, creating what officials described in the announcement as a strong foundation for future RNG production. If built, the facilities could convert landfill gas and wastewater biogas into pipeline-quality renewable natural gas for use in regional energy systems serving homes, businesses, and other customers. Springfield is joining a growing number of forward-looking communities that are turning everyday municipal operations into clean energy opportunities, Roberts said in the announcement. By leveraging both our landfill and wastewater treatment plants and inviting private sector investments to finance and operate the facilities, the city is pursuing an innovative approach that reduces emissions, creates renewable energy, and minimizes financial risk to taxpayers. City officials said the announcement that project goals include reducing routine flaring of landfills and digester gas, expanding renewable energy production, advancing sustainability goals, creating long-term revenue opportunities, and establishing public-private partnerships. Proposal deadline is set for December 1st. Proposals are due by 5 p.m. December 1st. Following evaluations and possible interviews, the city expects to issue a notice of intent to award in January 2027, according to the announcement. Additional information about the RFP, project background, and proposal requirements is available at springfieldmo.gov. This, again, was submitted this morning by Janice Reeser. Matt.
From the People Daily Citizen, poking around, see if Pokin's column. The city official says Ozark Burger King likely to reopen by this fall. It's been closed since December 2022 fire. Everything is on track for a reopening soon. The site had become an Ozark eyesore, says Randall Whitman, Ozark's Community Development Director. Just a second. Okay. Hold on to your pickles and hold on to your lettuce because I've got news that shouldn't upset you. The Burger King on Jackson Street in Ozark, a focal point of community interest, should reopen this fall. The fast food restaurant has been closed since a December 2022 fire. We felt this fall it should reopen certainly by the end of the year, says Randall Whitman, Ozark's Community Development Director. I feel confident, unless something happens, that they will probably be opened by this fall. Certainly by the end of the year, Whitman says. There's no reason to believe otherwise. The former structure damaged by the fire. Yeah, okay. Okay, yes. Where did, oh, hang on. Okay. Okay, yeah, it was, okay. I wrote an Answer Man column in December about the on again, off again rebuilding effort. At one point, weeks at 735 North Mizzy Boulevard, Nexa had filed 33,605 mechanics line on the construction project, alleging the general contractor had not paid for materials Meek supplied. Subsequently was removed. Back in December, when I called the owner of the actual land, a family trust in New Jersey, a representative mistakenly believed the rebuild was going smoothly. For whatever reason, there's a craving for Burger King news in Ozark. A few weeks after the first column was published, I wrote a follow-up because I was stunned by the number of people who had read the first column. It was our second most popular story for December 2025. That's interesting. Let me go find the rest of it here. Okay, there we go. Why? People love their Burger King, Whitman says. It's right there in the public eye, so it's a curiosity, and it's been like that for a long time, and it's been an eyesore for a long time. So people are anxious to see it cleaned up, and I think the businesses around it too probably are anxious to see it cleaned up. For several months now, every time I go to Ozark or pass by on Highway 65, I make a point of stopping to see if there has been progress. I did so on Wednesday, July 22nd, and lo and behold, people were at work and considerable progress had been made. In fact, there was a banner on the fence recruiting restaurant employees. Contractors have tried to build on existing foundation. The contractor deals dealt with some old foundation issues, Whitman said. Whitman tells me so, okay. That was some of their earlier problems. They tried to salvage the existing foundation in places and try to utilize as much of that as they could. And in the long story, they probably didn't serve them very well and didn't save them any time. It's created here's a headache. The Burger King restaurant is owned by the Tasty Restaurant Group, a national company. I reached out to the company and did not hear back by deadline. Yeah, it is. Okay. I also checked the calendar on the Ozark Chamber of Commerce website to see if a grand reopening celebration for the Burger King is scheduled. There is not. The calendar runs through May 12th, 2027, but I did find a grand opening slated for noon to 1 p.m. Friday, August 28th, for a new McDonald's at 120 South Waverly Street in Ozark. It will be the city's third McDonald's restaurant. Ozark, at least for now, remains a city without a Burger King. This is his column. It's number 365. And that's the end of that one. On back to Pat.
This out of Springfield News Leader yesterday at 3:55 a.m. from Anna Spory. Most pregnancy-related deaths in Missouri are preventable, report says. This is out of their health department. From 2019 to 2023, 340 Missourians died while pregnant or within a year after pregnancy. Of those, 108 deaths were classified as pregnancy-related, meaning caused or aggravated by the pregnancy itself, and nearly 80% of them were preventable. The findings were part of the 6th Annual Pregnancy-Associated Mortality Review, published this month by the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services. Cardiovascular disease and mental health and substance use disorders remain the leading causes of pregnancy-related mortality in Missourians. Infections, hemorrhage, and amniotic fluid embolisms are among the other less common causes of death. Missouri has long ranked among the states with the worst outcomes for infant and maternal health. Preventing maternal deaths in Missouri is complex. Health disparities, the opioid crisis, and lack of access to health care in all impact the health of moms across the state. This year's report concludes Studying maternal mortality cases is the first step in helping Missouri moms have healthy pregnancies and postpartum outcomes. The latest reports do not yet account for deaths in 2024 and 2025, at which point the state began rolling out several programs and initiatives aimed at reducing poor maternal outcomes. While the latest data virtually holds steady to the numbers seen in years prior, Martha Smith, the Missouri Maternal Child Health Director for the Health Department, is confident that the outcomes will soon start improving. Sometimes there's not a magic bullet, so to speak, she said. Sometimes it is more of this process and systems work to build the infrastructure and then train everybody and get everybody on board to use the same framework and build on the same infrastructure enough when you can really start the massive push to see a shift. I kind of think of it like a tidal wave to create that momentum to really change how things are done. While the statewide efforts are expansive, bringing together government, hospitals, researchers, providers, and community health workers, maternal health advocates on the community level worry how budget cuts at the state and federal levels could impact the work in years to come. Across Missouri, maternal health deserts are expanding and safety nets are shrinking. I'm going to try that sentence again. Across Missouri, maternal health deserts are expanding and safety net care is shrinking. Community-based organizations are struggling to provide basic care that they've been providing as safety nets. They're just being cut, and the projected policies that are on the ballot are lined up to do even greater harm, said Laura Gully, Chief Operating Officer of Generate Health, a St. Louis-based nonprofit focused on addressing racial disparities in maternal and infant health. So we do have our work cut out for us in advocacy. The warning comes as the money behind that work is thinning. State funding for maternal health services was cut in half in this year's budget. Lawmakers eliminated the capital gains tax last year, and a measure on the August 4th ballot would begin phasing out state income tax. Advocates fear that will fall hardest on the community groups already working with less. Mental health care. All of the 24 deaths in the reported associated with mental health conditions, including severe postpartum depression and substance use disorders, were found to be preventable. Kyra Betts-Patton, a community-based maternal health strategist in St. Louis, said she wasn't diagnosed with postpartum depression until she was 13 months postpartum with her first child. 5 months later, she was pregnant again and on her third type of antidepressant medication after the first caused gastric issues and the second caused insomnia. For Betts-Patton, who is also a doula and a PhD student studying public health in the Washington University, the experience only reinforced how difficult it can be to identify and then treat mental health disorder postpartum. We are starting to get providers who have some perinatal behavior health training, she said. Not enough for the number of us that experience the severe depression and anxiety that leads to maternal mental health being one of the leading causes of maternal deaths. This year's report identified several contributing factors to the mortality rates, which also noting that without autopsy reports for a majority of the cases, it's difficult to pinpoint the exact cause of death. Only 36% of the women in the report had an autopsy performed. The report recommends that autopsies be performed in all cases. Beth Patton said the lack of autopsies lets systems and providers off the hook. For example, she said, a woman battling a severe infection postpartum might take an additional pain medication to cope. If her death is then documented as an accidental overdose, it might overlook the infection as the underlying cause. Where more information is available, the board determined that a failure of a provider to complete a health assessment, including postpartum mental health screening, factored into 38 of the deaths. Other provider-level contributing factors include failure to provide quality care, such as failure to treat hypertensive disorders, failure to coordinate continuity of care, such as failure to coordinate prescription changes in pregnancy, and discrimination, including dismissed symptoms. Lack of knowledge of risk factors or warning signs was listed as the most prevalent risk factor for patients, factoring into estimated 26 deaths. The report also highlighted system-level contributing factors in the women's death, including barriers to accessing care, such as an inability to afford care or lack of reliable transportation to get that care. Statewide efforts to reduce deaths. Black women continue to die at 2.5 times the rate of white women, according to the report. Women enrolled in Medicaid were nearly 3 times as likely to die as those on private insurance, a rate that has decreased since the 2022 report, which encompassed maternal deaths from 2017 to 2019, found women on Medicaid were 8 times more likely to die than those on private insurance. In 2023, the Missouri legislature expanded Medicaid coverage through the first year postpartum. About 40% of women in Missouri who gave birth are on Medicaid at the time of delivery. This is one of several recommendations by the board over the past several years that has been rolled out. Other efforts include support for doula training programs and coverage for doula services for pregnant women on Medicaid beginning in 2024, following by an expansion of those services that was signed into law this year. Also signed into law this year was a statute expanding the scope of Mortality Review Board to include studying the state's maternal health care deserts, tracking the level of prenatal and postnatal care given to women who die in childbirth or postpartum, and making recommendations to combat racial inequities and maternal deaths. In 2024, the Missouri Perinatal Quality Collaborative launched the Ask Me 5 campaign aimed at establishing more trust between providers and patients while discussing critical health and safety information. The state is currently in the process of implementing the Postpartum Pathway program published last year that aims to create standardized postpartum care across the state. The initiative that was a result of state funding spurred by the Mortality Board's previous finding. I'm sorry, that Postpartum Pathway program published last year just threw me off on that paragraph.
It's so much
Alliteration, yeah.
Too many P's.
Gully said the report proved it's possible to create space where collaboration can happen between and amongst both those that are providing critical care and services and families that are trying to access them so that we are in alignment. It also proves that there's no one linchpin to be found. When we talk about listening to the community, that better helps us understand what things we need to address or tackle, she said. For example, among the new recommendations this year was an urging by the board for local housing authorities to create policies prioritizing housing for pregnant and postpartum women. The board also called on local governments and state agencies and community-based organizations to invest in community violent intervention programs with the goal of reducing the number of pregnant and postpartum women killed in homicides. We know there's a direct correlation with stress and cortisol in your body. It's not an ideal environment for a baby to be growing in, Gully said. That leads to hypertension, it leads to preeclampsia, it can lead to other chronic illnesses that stress exacerbates. It's often community organizations working on the grounds to address social determinants of health like housing and food insecurity, violence and environmental hazards. The task is made all the more difficult when investment dollars start drying up. In 2023, Governor Mike Parson signed off on a budget that invested $4.3 million in improving quality and access to maternal health services. That funding was cut in half in the budget signed by Governor Mike Keogh for the 2027 fiscal year, Smith said, but they still have some continued funding. Some of the state programs also rely on federal grants as well as Mo HealthNet funds. Beth Patton says she fears how budget line items like the doula training program might fare in leaner years, despite research showing their effectiveness in improving maternal outcomes. There have been people in this work for over a decade, still advocating before there was a PAMR report. She said there were still people who had that anecdotal community level experience that something was happening. It is still happening. Matt.
As People-Day citizen, Gordon McCann, champion of Ozarks culture and music, dies at 94. Farmers gifts I've never heard of, unfortunately. Gordon McCann, who passionately encouraged fellow Ozarkers to appreciate their heritage and educated others from coast to coast about unique attributes of the region, died at Friday, July 17th at age 94. Although he got a late start on his mission in his 40s, once he got rolling, McCann spent the next half-century tirelessly preserving and promoting traditional hill country fiddle music and other aspects of Ozarks culture through audio recordings, films, and videos and books, and public presentations and concerts. He taught himself to play guitar so he could accompany noted fiddler and friend Art, I think it's Galbraith, in performances throughout the Midwest and as far away as Virginia and California. When the Smithsonian Institution or National Geographic magazine or some other prominent organization or publication sought to focus on the Ozarks, McCann became well-known as the reliable go-to local guide to steer them to authentic stories and personalities. Uh, here behind so the guidance of his intimate knowledge of people and places is crucial for popular Ozarks Watch video magazine series that aired for more than 24 years on regional public television station KOZK at Channel 21. Had there been no Gordon McCann, there would have been no sustainable programs, says Dale Moore, who co-hosted the show from 2020 until the cutoff. Federal funding caused its cancellation last year. Every year about this time, we'd start planning how to come up with new shows for the upcoming season. I'd always start the meeting with Gordon. We've run out of people to talk to. There's nobody left. He'd look at me and get that half grin on his face and then say something like, "Well, I heard from an old gal from down around okay, who's got a sister who has a nephew who has a second cousin who, and the next thing you'd know, we'd have about 13 shows ready to go. Again, captured some 400 fiddlers in 3,000 hours of tunes and talk on a portable tape recorder. He he took to house parties and other music gatherings throughout southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. He then donated the tapes to Missouri State University's Meyer Library for public sharing over the internet. He collaborated with Ms. Ralph in producing the iconic Folklore's final book. His own writing included notebooks and scrapbooks, tens and thousands of detailed entries and photographs, filling almost 4,000 pages of information about life and lore in the region. All the while, McCann took time to mentor and inspire writers, photographers, and especially musicians to take up and keep up the preservation of the special aspects of the Ozarks. Talented Taney County fiddler Emily Goldman was in her teens when she first encountered McCann. I was just getting my passion for our region's fiddle tunes, and he was already 90. Over the next 4 years, he never stopped teaching and playing music and sharing his musical resources with me. Sometimes she says McCann would lament that she'd missed out on several colorful fiddlers who no longer were alive, but I don't believe I did miss out on all of those musicians, she insists, because I had the honor of being Gordon McCann's friend. Former MSU Dean of Library Services, Tom Peters, agrees. He credits McCann with instilling enthusiasm for traditional music that led Peters to purchase the former general store in Taney County, where that had become a site of a weekly music jam. Peters' ownership has ensured that the Monday night tradition continues, complete with potluck dinner. Peters also shepherded the recent transfer of McCann's vast personal library of rare regional history books and other Ozark paraphernalia to the MSU library to join with his previously donated audio tapes. I'd like to hear those. Where's my next part here? Okay. The career of Gordon McCann is a perfect example of the power and efficiency of one individual who is persistently passionate about a subject area. Peter says he loved and respected old-time mountain music. He practiced and performed it on national stages and in small music parties such as he encouraged many others to learn and convey this music. He recorded, studied, and preserved this tradition, yet he was humble, grounded, and joyful and funny. This wasn't the legacy that McCann had envisioned as a young man. His family was in the process of moving from Joplin to Springfield to assume ownership of Springfield when Charles McCann was born in August of 1931 to Charles A. and Mary McCann. He attended elementary school and Dare Junior High and graduated from senior now Central High School in 1949. He next enrolled in what was then Southwest Missouri State College, now Missouri State University, majoring in Spanish and minors in French and German with the aim of becoming a linguistics teacher. He also worked part-time in the family's blueprint business. While a student, he met Warner Gale. He enjoyed telling the story of their first date when he was greeted by the sight of her father sitting in the living room with a shotgun across his knees. Moore insisted it was a mere coincidence that her dad had returned from a quail hunt and was cleaning the weapon, but McCann always said with a chuckle that he took it as a paternal warning. The couple married in 1952 and had their union lasted until Mona died in a month short of their 71st wedding anniversary in 2023. McCann completed his college degree program in 1953, but decided that joining Springfield Blooper as a full-time employee was the prudent next step. He eventually succeeded his father and as head of the business, and the cycle was repeated when his son uh, Chuck assumed the company leadership role in the 1990s, and it also was on the staff. Realignment allowed McCann more time out of the downtown Springfield office to expand his practice of the previous 2 decades, namely assigning himself to hit the road as often as possible to make sure that sales calls in the region, also making frequent stops to visit with folks for rare books and pamphlets, meet musicians and find out where jam sessions and music parties regularly took place, and take notes and photographs along the way. That quest had begun in early 1970s when he was intrigued by an ad for Ariel Woods Ozark Opry on the square in the town of Ozark. He convinced Mona that he was worth a look-see one Saturday night. He was quickly hooked, even if she wasn't. He began making weekly visits to Christian County to enjoy the music and eventually to record tunes so he could learn to play them on the guitar at home. He also made acquaintances, most significantly with Art Galbraith, considered one of the finest fiddlers in the area. As McCann's home basement practicing progressed, he was allowed to second on the guitar as Galbraith's skillfully sat on the fiddle. They became fast friends and a popular duo. In addition to regularly performing together within easy drives from Springfield until Galbraith's death in 1993, the pair also performed at such far-flung venues as the Wolf Trap National Folk Festival in Washington, D.C., Virginia, the Smithsonian Folk Festival in the nation's capital itself, the San Diego Folk Festival, and the Louisiana World Exhibition in New Orleans. Their widespread popularity was not surprising to locals, including a young rising politician, Roy Blunt. Gordon McCann was a good friend of mine and a tireless advocate of the folkways and history of the Ozarks. The now retired U.S. Senator emailed in response to an inquiry for this story. He was seen as a resource by the Smithsonian and by anybody else who was interested in what makes the Ozarks such a unique place. For me, Blunt wrote, thinking of him with his old friend Art Galbraith on somebody's front porch or under a tree playing music that might otherwise have been forgotten is a great memory. At the state level, Isa Higgins, director of the Missouri Folk Arts Program, headquarters in Columbia, has long been an admirer of McCann. She was especially pleased that he was nominated and awarded one of the program's coveted Missouri Living Traditions Sustainer Fellowships in 2024. I really do see Gordon as a true folk hero. Higgins commented upon hearing of his death. We folklorists no legends are still stories of Gordon's work, artistry, and wisdom are 100% true, and his contributions will live forever. Closer to home, I'm a book gem. Fiddler David Scribner says that it was a fiddler who was fortunate to know him or find his collections online. Continues to benefit from Gordon's efforts. Scribner praised McCann's ability to recognize something truly special and fragile in what the rest of us often see as mundane. Gordon valued and documented ordinary music parties in people's homes, in the backyards, or even on a quick lunch break when he happened to be traveling for work. He knew those times were fleeting and he desired to share them. He went out of his way to find opportunities that involve newcomers to our tradition, and his enthusiasm was always apparent. Now that I am becoming one of the old guys in the tradition, I only hope that I can maintain a similar value and of previous moments, and that I can make others feel as special as he made me feel. Mike Smith, veteran musical host on public radio station KSMU and longtime McCann friend, notes that at the turn of the century, McCann produced 3 albums of traditional fiddle music for Rounder Records, preserving a total of more than 100 tunes. Those albums have become like audio bubbles for a lot of fiddlers, Smith notes. Furthermore, Gordon had such a love for this area, and he wanted to share that love and show people why they should have love for the Ozarks. Plus, Smith added, Mona McCann, the best custard pie I've ever eaten in my life. It's not only musicians who appreciate McCann's contributions. Writers such as Curtis Copeland, who leads the Society of Ozakian Hillcrafters, enthusiast group, says Gordon is a hero himself. He had the most complete and expansive personal library of Ozarks books I have ever seen. Really, really many public libraries, really many public libraries. My fondest memories of Gordon were the road trips to far off places way, way back in the hills that people were made all the more special because the old fellow riding shotgun knew the history behind every little burg, crossroads, and landmark we passed. We're poring over old maps and quizzing each other about who and what we knew of our great truth, the Ozarks. And the photo here. McCann's recording and personal library also are noted by MSU English professor Chris Proof, Bill O. Gordon for donating music collection and most of his books, and folk life materials to MSU Library, where they will be preserved and made accessible for future generations. Books, professor of Ozark Studies at MSU is grateful for McCann's determined preservation efforts, especially for its delayed start. It's incredible to think that Gordon spent the first 40 years of his life with basically no interest in or knowledge of Ozark's music, culture, and history. He more than made up for it in the last 55 Gordon's collection of Ozark audio recordings, books, maps, etc. Impressive and valuable. But what was even more amazing, we've said, was that it just couldn't hold a handle to the knowledge he carried around in the quick mind of his. Those of us in the Ozarks business are forever indebted to Gordon McCann. The list of world public acknowledgments of McCann's accomplishments and contributions, in addition to the aforementioned fellowship from the Missouri Folk Arts Program, includes awards from the National Endowment of the Arts, the Missouri Arts Council, the Missouri Folklore Society, the National Geographic Society, the Smithsonian Institution, and an honorary doctorate from Missouri State University bestowed in 2010. Yeah. Funeral services will be held at 11 a.m. Saturday, July 25th, so just passed. Preceded by an informal visitation starting at 10:30 a.m. at Osage, 2751 East Galloway Street in Springfield. Burial will follow at Maple Park Cemetery, 300 West Grand Street, in the direction Gordon's Covert Funeral, Gordon's Funeral Home. The family will announce a future public gathering to celebrate McCann's life of music and stories from friends. More memorial contributions are suggested to Bethel Youth Fiddle Camp, 127 Main Street. Oops, that didn't work out. Bethel, Missouri. Oh, that didn't. Hang on. Oh, okay. Yeah. Bethel, Missouri. 6340. Oh, okay. Yeah. Or to other programs supporting young musicians. And that is that one. Quite an interesting guy. On to Pat.
The Blind Community Thrift Store is a spacious 17,000 square foot thrift store located in Springfield, Missouri. It holds the distinction of being the first retail store worldwide to incorporate Navi lens technology, which significantly enhances accessibility for the blind, visually impaired, and non-English speaking individuals. This innovative system enables customers to navigate and shop with minimal assistance, fostering independence and confidence. The store operates as a nonprofit organization dedicated to generating funds that support the provision of adaptive technology and training for the blind and visually impaired community, often at little or no cost. Visitors can learn more about the organization and access its services by visiting the store in person at 2713 North Kansas Expressway, Springfield, Missouri, or by exploring the website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The website offers comprehensive information about the store's missions, services, and opportunities for community involvement, as well as details about the free store available to residents in the Springfield area. We have several short articles out of Ozark First over the weekend. I'm just going to go through each one of them here and give Matt a chance to get his voice back. This was on July 26. A 75-year-old kayaker dies after medical emergency on Ozark County River. A man has died after drowning while kayaking in Ozark County on Saturday, July 25th. According to Missouri State Highway Patrol drowning report, the incident occurred after a 75-year-old St. Charles, Missouri man was traveling on the North Fork of the White River, 5 miles south of Dora, Missouri, around 3:18 p.m. on Saturday. Missouri State Highway Patrol says the man encountered a medical emergency, capsized a 12-foot fiberglass kayak, and lost consciousness. The law enforcement reports that first aid was rendered until the man was pronounced dead around 4:26 p.m. The next of kin has been notified, and troopers from Troop G responded to aid in the event. Then also a Kansas man drowned at Lake of the Ozarks over the weekend. Troopers have reported that they responded to a drowning in the Lake of the Ozarks on Saturday, July 25th. Missouri State Highway Patrol noted in a drowning report that the incident occurred around 4:40 p.m. near the 32,000 block of Crescent Drive in Morgan County when a 62-year-old Shawnee, Kansas man entered the lake on Saturday. The report states that the Kansas swimmer entered the water from a dock and later did not resurface. Missouri State Highway Patrol says that a dive recovery operation was conducted to locate the man. Officials say he was found but pronounced dead around 8:03 p.m. by Morgan County Medical Examiner. Law enforcement reports that the man was not wearing a safety device at the time of the incident. In Springfield City Council will meet this evening, Monday, July 27th, to discuss further and possibly vote on a special ordinance authorizing a development plan for the new Andes headquarters, which is planned for the corner of East Division and Lecomte Road. If approved, the ordinance would allow the construction and improvement of the new campus. The city may also issue more than $32 million in bonds to support the project, with the goal of keeping the popular local chain rooted in Springfield. The project will retain 54 existing headquarter jobs and create 16 new full-time positions. These new jobs will offer an average annual wage of $94,766, which is approximately 1.66 times the Greene County average. The council will also consider other agenda items during the meeting. One bill proposes requiring taxicabs operating in Springfield to undergo inspections every 2 years, specifically during years when a state vehicle inspection is not mandated. Other measures to be reviewed would modify the hours of operations for dispensary drive-through services. This change would permit dispensaries to remain open until 1:30 a.m. Also, a 10-year-old girl from Illinois has died after a three-vehicle crash Friday afternoon, July 24th, in Laclede County. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol crash report, the wreck happened at 1:04 p.m. Friday, July 24th, at the intersection of Missouri 5 and Orchard Drive. The report states a 76-year-old Lebanon woman was driving when she turned onto Missouri 5 and entered the path of another vehicle. The second vehicle struck hers before crossing the roadway and colliding with a third vehicle. A 10-year-old passenger in the second vehicle from Geneseo, Illinois, suffered serious injuries and was flown by Mercy Life Flight to Mercy Hospital, Springfield. She died from her injuries, according to an updated crash report. The driver of the second vehicle, a 34-year-old man from Geneseo, suffered serious injuries and was transported by Mercy Ambulance to Lake Regional Hospital in Osage Beach. The 76-year-old driver from Lebanon suffered minor injuries and was taken by Mercy EMS to Lake Regional Hospital in Osage Beach. The driver of the third vehicle, a 74-year-old Columbia woman, suffered moderate injuries and was transported by EMS to Mercy Hospital, Lebanon. According to the report, all 4 persons involved were wearing seat belts. And a Branson man was killed in a Hickory County crash. 75-year-old Branson man died Friday afternoon, July 24th, after his pickup left the road and struck a driveway embankment and concrete culvert in Hickory County. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol wreck report, a crash happened on US 65 in Cross Timbers. The report states a 2016 Ford F-150 traveled off the left side of the highway before striking a driveway embankment and concrete culvert. The driver was pronounced dead at the scene at 3:02 p.m. by Hickory County Coroner Richard Avery, according to the report. He was not wearing a seatbelt, per the report. The truck sustained moderate hemorrhage and was towed from the scene. Crash marks Troop D's 71st traffic fatality of 2026. Matt, are you ready?
So, for the Springfield Days Citizen, next up, voters will consider sales tax for fire district in August election. Coming up here. Next to voters on August 4th will consider I believe it's 1%, I hope, fleet sales tax that would help fund personnel and equipment for the Nexa Fire Protection District after voters struck down a property tax levy increase for NFPD in November 2025. The district is considering alternative ways to continue funding services for the growing community. We responded to about over 4,900 calls last year for service, and so we're at a point where we would really like to add additional staffing to be able to help take care of all those service requests that we get daily, said Chief Lloyd Wells, I believe it is. Next, fire district tax levy was set at 75 cents per 100 or $100 looks like of election in 2023. The levy rate has been rolled back to just over 69 cents 2024, according to the city of Nixon's most recent comprehensive financial report. NFPD has not purposefully added positions since 2018 when it received a federal grant to add 3 new personnel. While said in 2018, the district responded to 3,743 calls for the service, according to NFPD. There were 4,904 calls for service in 2025, an increase of almost 27%. Meanwhile, grants have become harder to obtain every year, Wall said, and the district faces rising equipment costs and minimum wage requirements. Assistant Chief Whitney Weaver told the Daily Citizen in 2025 that the cost of equipment and pants individually fitted for the protection of each firefighter has risen to $2,000, a 63% increase since 2020. If the sales tax measure is approved, Nixa would become one of the only communities in southwest Missouri with a fire district sales tax. According to Wells, the sales tax measure was made possible by state law changes approved last year by the General Assembly. Unlike the tax levy increase proposal, a sales tax would be paid by visitors to Nixa in addition to residents. If they come here from other communities to shop inside of Nixa, then there are a lot of other folks, not just the residents or the property owners of this district, that are helping to fund the operation of the fire district. Well said. Statute, what the heck that is? The district would be required to roll back its property tax levy by an amount equal to half of the revenue generated by the sales tax if it is approved. Here is the ballot language for the measure. Let's see if I can get this to work right. Shall Nixa Fire Protection District be authorized to impose a sales tax of 1%? It's written out and in parentheses in numbers for the purpose of providing revenues for the operation of the district and a total property tax value on properties in the district shall be reduced annually by an amount of which reduces property tax value by an amount equal to 50% of the previous year's revenue collected from the sales tax. I think it looks like that's it. That's the end of the article there.
Okay.
Looks like.
Well, let's go back in history and see what happened on this day. It really looks like it wasn't a very exciting day down through history. In 1794, I guess it was important to people involved. In 1794, Robespierre was overthrown in France. That had to do with the French Revolution, the Reign of Terror. And that would have been in 1794. Jumping ahead, though, to 1921, surgeon Frederick Banting and medical student Charles Best successfully isolated the hormone insulin in experiments at the University of Toronto. Their breakthrough would save the lives of millions of people with diabetes. Also, in 1949, the first commercial jet made its test flight. On July 27th, 1949, the world's first jet-propelled airline, the British de Havilland Comet, made its maiden test flight in England. The jet engine would ultimately revolutionize the airline industry, shrinking air travel time in half by enabling planes to climb faster and fly higher. The Comet was the creation of English aircraft designer and aviation pioneer Sir Geoffrey de Havilland, 1882 to 1965. De Havilland started out designing motorcycles and buses, but after seeing Wilbur Wright demonstrate an airplane in 1908, he decided to build one of his own. The Wright brothers had made their famous first flight at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, in 1903. De Havilland successfully designed and piloted his first plane in 1910 and went on to work for English Aircraft Manufacturing before starting his own company in 1920. De Havilland Aircraft Company became a leader in the aviation industry, known for developing lighter engines and faster, more streamlined planes. And that was 1949. 1953, an armistice ended the Korean War hostilities. The war finally came to an end. After 3 years of bloody and frustrating war, United States, the People's Republic of China, North Korea, and South Korea agreed to an armistice, bringing the Korean War to an end. The armistice ended America's first experiment with the Cold War concept of limited war. The Korean War began on July 25, 1950, when communist North Korea invaded South Korea. Almost immediately, the United States secured resolution from the United Nations calling for the military defense of South Korea against North Korean aggression. In a matter of days, U.S. land, air, and sea forces had joined the battle. The U.S. intervention turned the tide of the war, and soon the U.S. and South Korean forces were pushing into North Korea toward the nation's border with China. In November and December of 1950, hundreds of thousands of troops from the People's Republic of China began heavy assaults against the American and South Korean forces. The war eventually bogged down into a battle of attrition. In 1981, 6-year-old Adam Walsh was abducted. It was his abduction that began the nationwide Florida, and later found murdered aftermath of the crime. Adam's father, John Walsh, became a leading victims' rights activist and host of long-running television's America's Most Wanted. John Walsh channeled his grief into an advocacy work for crime victims. He was a founder of 1984 of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and in 1988 he became the host of America's Most Wanted, a show that has since helped law enforcement officials track down hundreds of fugitives. On July 27, 2006, 25 years after Adam went missing, then President George W. Bush signed the Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act into law. And in 1996, bombing at Centennial Olympic Park. At Atlantic, Georgia, the 26th Summer Olympiad was disrupted. That's not 26. Yes, 26.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good at Roman numerals.
Yeah.
26th Olympiad is disrupted by the explosion of the nail-laden pipe bomb in Centennial Olympic Park. The bombing, which occurred during a free concert, killed a mother who had brought her daughters to hear the rock music and injured more than 100 others, including a Turkish cameraman who suffered a fatal heart attack after the blast. Police were warned of the bombing in advance, but the bomb exploded before the anonymous caller said it would, leading authorities to suspect that the law enforcement officers who descended on the park were indirectly targeted. Within a few days, Richard Jewell, a security guard at the concert, was under investigation for the crime. However, evidence against him was dubious at best, and in October, he was fully cleared of all responsibility of the bombing. And that was a very short list of things that happened today in history.
I remember the last one. I wondered if that Walsh was the same John Walsh, and it looks like it was.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Fascinating.
Okay, now, and special days today, and July is almost over, but today we have Bagpipe Appreciation Day, Barbie in a Blender Day.
What?
I don't know. We'll go with that one. Barbie in a Blender Day sparks conversations about artistic freedom and expression every July 27th. Initiated by Students for Free Culture, this day honors photographer Tom Forsyth and the necessity of creative liberty. Explore the power of art to provoke thought, challenge norms, and advocate for free speech. Learn about this history, engage in creative acts, and support organizations championing artistic rights. While Barbie in a Blender Day isn't typically a commercial holiday, it's an excellent opportunity to support arts and creative expression. Let's see here. Let me go back to this. I think at the very end it says, Tom Forsyth is an American photographer and artist best known for his Food Chain Barbie series. I've never heard of that.
No, neither.
In 1997, his artwork, which depicted Barbie dolls in various satirical and provocative poses, led to a landmark legal battle with Mattel, no doubt, over copyright and fair use, ultimately affirming his right to artistic expression. Many of us have played with a Barbie doll at least once in our life. Barbie is one of the most famous toys in the world. Tom Forsyth once published Barbie doll images near and inside a blender. His mission was to criticize consumer culture and the objectification of women through photos. But the Mattel company filed suit against him for publishing the images, claiming copyright infringements. In 2004, Forsyth won the case and received $1.8 million in compensation. Barbie in a Blender Day was then created to celebrate his efforts to promote the importance of free artistic expression. Matt, please.
Interesting. This one may take a bit to read, I'm not sure. Eric Burleson faces two challengers in GOP primary for 7th Congressional District, which is this whole area, really. Just a sec, if I can find where the article starts. Just a minute here. There we go. In his quest for a third term, representing Missouri's 7th Congressional District, U.S. Representative Eric Burleson is facing two Republican challengers in the August 4th primary election, John Casey and I think Grayson Hunt, I believe. The Republican nominee will face Democrat Z. Hexeth, I think, and Libertarian Kevin Craig in the November general election. Missouri's 7th District encompasses much of southwest Missouri, including Berry, Christian, Greene, Lawrence, McDonald, Newton, Jasper, Stone, and Taney counties, and the southern half of Webster County. The solidly Republican district was unaffected by the recent redistricting that divided the Democrat-leaning 5th Congressional District, encompassing much of Kansas City, into three Republican-leaning districts. Prior to Burleson's election in 2022, the district was represented by Representative Billy Long from 2011 to 2023. Burleson, 49, previously served in the Missouri General Assembly, representing House District 133 and Senate District 20, both of which have since been redistricted. In addition to his political career, Burleson has 20 years of experience as an investment advisor and software consultant. A 1995 graduate of Parkview High School, Burleson boasts a bachelor's degree in philosophy and a master of business administration from Missouri State University. These darn pictures, which I've got to get past. Oh, that is right. Okay. Hunt 25 is running for elected office for the first time. He grew up in Springfield, graduating from Glendale High School, and currently resides in Willard. Hunt is pursuing a bachelor's degree in information technology and cybersecurity at MSU. The main reasons for is running for Congress are because he believes that younger representation is necessary to ensure a true effort is being made to pass congressional term limits. Like Hunt, Casey has never before run for elected office. Springfield native, Casey 27, currently resides in Republic, where he graduated from high school. Upon graduation, Casey joined the U.S. Marine Corps, where he served for 4 years before returning to the Ozarks for experience in sales and I guess metalworking, actually. Casey currently works as a commercial fire alarm installer and aspires to open his own business in the same field. Casey said he is running to address the systematic replacement of the American worker restrictions on legal immigration, in addition to cracking down on illegal immigration. Candidates discuss affordability, conflict, immigration policy. Each candidate was asked to answer in writing the same 5 questions. Their responses are listed below each question. Oh boy, I don't know how much time we have. This may take a bit. If elected to serve in 120th U.S. Congress, what would your priorities be? Burleson for growth. Southwest Missouri needs improvement to critical infrastructure. That is why I have been fighting to improve infrastructure for water, rail, electricity, and roads. We have seen modest success in those areas. For example, securing a federal allocation of drinking water from Stockton Lake, and reducing regulations on homeowners around Table Rock Lake and Lake Taneycomo. If reelected, I will continue to working to improve infrastructure for Southwest Missouri. In addition, I will work to reduce the cost of healthcare. I have been leading the charge on healthcare reform for as the lead sponsor of the bill, the Great American Healthcare Plan. This proposal has the support of groups such as the NFIB, and the Heritage Foundation has been gaining traction in Washington, D.C. as a legitimate answer to the disastrous effects of Obamacare. Editor's note: NFIB stands for National Federation of Independent Businesses, apparently. Next part here. Oh, okay. Hunt said, my first priority would be lowering the cost of living for working families. That means reducing wasteful spending, lowering health care, and prescription costs, supporting reliable American energy, and removing unnecessary barriers that hurt small businesses. I would also work to secure the border, improve rural health care, strengthen veteran services, protect constitutional rights, and invest in Southwest Missouri infrastructure while working to limit and increase strong regulations on AI data centers. I would introduce congressional term limits and support stronger ethics and transparency rules. Missouri deserves a representative who holds regular town halls, answers constituents. Past it. And is not controlled by party leadership or special interests. My standard would be simple. Does this protect the Constitution, serve the people of Missouri, and make life more affordable? Casey says priorities would be real immigration restrictions that put the American worker first, stop the advancement of the AI police state, stop the mass poisoning of American people, and go after all for influence within our government. In the event that Democrats retake one or both chambers of Congress, how can the House work across the aisle to avoid gridlock in a time of hyperpolarization? Burson says politics is often about relationships, I should say. Well, I vehemently disagree at times with my Democratic colleagues. Many of them are my friends because I am willing to look past our differences and seek common ground. I have seen success even in divided government. Some of the successes I have achieved were accomplished while Joe Biden was president and while Jay Nixon was governor when I served as a state lawmaker. At the end of the day, success is determined by diligence and unwavering commitment to never stop fighting for what you know is right. Hunt says, I will not compromise my constitutional principles, but I will work with anyone who brings forward a good idea for the American people. Congress should address legislation issues by issue instead of forcing members to vote or unless it bills filed with unrelated spending and political favors. Representatives should have time to read legislation, debate it publicly, and offer amendments. Republicans and Democrats can work together on low health care costs, support veterans, improving infrastructure, protecting children, and holding government accountable. I am a Republican because of my principles, but I would represent every person in Missouri's 7th district. People are tired of politicians treating disagreement as an excuse to accomplish nothing. Where is the response from the other person? I think I found it. Oh, okay, see. I would definitely work with anyone from either party, but never at the cost of the American people. Single issue bills help keep issues separate. I think that's a great way we can help prevent gridlock. He's a man of few words. What can Congress do to reduce inflation and the cost of living? Burleson says nothing has increased the cost of living more than the rising cost of health care and health insurance premiums. By many studies, health insurance premiums have risen 3 times faster than normal inflation. Most Republicans have avoided this conversation, but I have not. I have worked for years to develop solutions to the ever-rising costs of the healthcare system. I am the lead sponsor of the Great American Healthcare Plan, which would give health savings. I keep hitting the wrong things. Accounts to everyone. Healthcare is about more than insurance, which is why my plan encourages people to use their healthcare dollars to stay healthy. Working the plan out, to say who dollars could be used to pay for healthy groceries at the grocery store.
4 minutes.
Okay, farmers markets, as well as for membership at a fitness center. And the next person, I think, trying to find all these photos are everywhere. Trying to get past it here. As I just did. Oh, no, I did not. Hunt says Congress must stop spending money it does not have while taking direct action to lower household expenses. I would support responsible budgeting, reliable domestic energy production, stronger American supply chains, and fewer unnecessary regulations that increase the cost of housing, food, transportation, and running a small business. Healthcare is one of the largest financial budget families face. Congress should require real price transparency, increase competition, lower prescription costs, and provide affordable coverage options for people who do not receive insurance through an employer. A government cannot spend its way out of inflation. We need fiscal discipline, more domestic production, and greater competition and policies that allow Missourians to keep more of what they earn. We need to do more with less government. Casey said, stop the endless wars, endless foreign aid, and all NGO funding. The American people are being completely robbed by these huge issues. Editor's note, NGO stands for non-governmental organization. Are we about ready to?
We have 1 more minute.
Okay, I guess we can maybe just.
You have there's 2 minute and a half left.
I don't know that I can get through any more questions from these.
Okay.
Since those two of them
Well, let me
are
do
more
this
long
then. I think this is a good one to end on. For the third consecutive year, Ozark School District's Tiber Paul Early Childhood Center received funding that offsets the tuition for up to 120 students who plan to enter kindergarten during the 27-28 year. Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education awarded Ozark the 1-year Missouri Quality Pre-Kindergarten Grant, known as MOQPK, that is worth up to $780,000. We are appreciative of this continued focus on our state is giving to early intervention and education, said Anna Thurman, Executive Director of Elementary Learning, in a July 23rd news release. This grant allows our families to access excellent education. Our Tiger Paw program continues to provide our youngest learners while relieving a financial burden. Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store Radio Reading Service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, to the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from the 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.